all of the other songs, and I would just like skip over this one. It was always hard to sing, and actually recording it now, it's easier to just sing it as worship, you know, and not think about like actually recording it. But yeah. So this song is one of probably the most personal and vulnerable songs that is on the album.
I'm trusting in your grace.
This one I barely even sing it really, or sang it. In 2020, the Lord started speaking to me about having another child, and I got pregnant, and we were super excited. You know, I could start to feel my body changing. You know, you start to think about, what is the baby gonna be like? Is it gonna be a boy or a girl? You know, all these things, who the baby's gonna be, and all of these things. And Mother's Day weekend, I started bleeding, and the doctors weren't sure at first what was going on, and I was, you know, trying to stay in faith that everything was fine with the baby, and I could feel in my body that I was losing the baby. And in the midst of all of that, the Lord was moving mightily in my family. We were in the process of starting to buy our first house, and my husband was starting a new job, and on the outside everything was falling into place, but I was still bleeding. And we moved forward with the house, and it was clear that God was moving in that direction. And standing at the house, I got a call from my doctor that I had miscarried. And in that moment, I felt devastated, but also I knew, I could feel in my body that I had lost the baby. And in that time, I felt the pain of the loss, but I felt like I didn't really have an outlet. I felt like I didn't really have anyone that I could really talk to about it. I felt like life, you know, keeps going. You're still working. You're still I was taking care of my other children. And the only thing the Lord told me to do during that time was to worship Him. Anytime I would start to feel myself being overwhelmed with grief, or just overwhelmed with the reality of the loss, the Lord would arrest me and just, no, thank me, no, worship me. And that's what got me through that time, just worshiping Him, just thanking Him, not allowing myself to stay there. And I was told that it would be probably months before I could have another child. And literally the next month, we found out we were pregnant with twins. And how good is God? How faithful. And I remember driving home from work, and it was raining outside, and I was sitting in my car, and I had cried the whole way home from work. And it was just like all of the emotions of the loss of a baby, but then the faithfulness of God in the same vein. I knew that He was faithful. I could see Him working and moving in my family, and even in me, that I wasn't in depression, that I was able to still worship the Lord. I knew that He was good, that He had been good to me, even though I felt the pain of the loss. I knew that He was good to me. He was literally proving His faithfulness over and over again. And it was just like this song just popped out of my spirit. It was almost like, I couldn't even get it out. It just poured out of my spirit. God, I know that you're good. When everything else is stripped away, when life is crazy, I know that you're faithful. I know that you'll always be enough. That's your promise. But when I look back, it doesn't matter what I may have felt in the moment. It doesn't matter what my emotions were trying to get me to accept about Him, about what was going on. I know that you are faithful and that you will always be enough, and you have always been enough. You've always been enough. In the valleys, on the mountains, you've been enough for me. And so this song, I pray, will encourage you, will uplift you. And even if it's a song that you're singing in faith, sing it. Declare that He is enough. If everything else in your life is stripped away, He's enough. His presence is enough. His love, His goodness is enough. It's always been enough, and it will always be enough.
When all is stripped away, your promises